Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, most of you, no matter where in the world you are, you will probably have heard about the horrific tragedy which literally befell, the world famous Sycamore Gap tree in Northumberland. Been there for 300 years, maybe more. Rises to a height of 118 feet. Sits right beside Hadrian's wall, in the beautiful cleft of the landscape. It comes down on one side steeply like this, and then goes up the other side steeply, not very high, but very steep. And you can walk along all of this. Hadrian's wall is there, and this tree is sat there. It was once part of a big cluster of sycamore trees. They were all taken down, and this one was left to remain as an icon, as a cultural and heritage beacon for the northeast of Britain, of England. People travel from far and wide to see this tree, to exchange vows beneath it, to have ceremonies there, to pledge their love for one another there. It's just a place of pilgrimage from people from far and wide. It's been on TV shows and movies. It became, most famously, it got put on the arboreal map of everyone's imagination. It became the Robin Hood tree thanks to Kevin Costner and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Let's just have a blast at that. Now, I love that movie, don't get me wrong, but it's a piece of crap. It really is. I just see it as a comedy pop video. That's all it really is, but with Alan Rickman in it. At least there wasn't a spoon and cancel Christmas. He's awesome in that. But you've got Kevin Costner arriving after the Crusades with Morgan Freeman in tow. Lands beneath the white cliffs of Dover. Lies and makes sand angels. England, oh England, I'm home. England, England, in a really broad American accent. And then I'll show you to his Moorish companion, Morgan Freeman. I'll show you the delights of England. And the next scene, they're up at Hadrian's wall, 700 miles away, totally bypassing, Sherwood Forest and Nottingham completely, and ending up at what was once the border between England and Scotland. It's a complete travesty, but it put that tree on the cinematic map, certainly. So everyone called it the Robin Hood tree. I've never been happy with that, never. I love Robin Hood, love the whole legend of that, love all the movies, but I don't like that tree being called it because of an erroneous, stupid geographical error that they just put into a movie, shoehorned in, because that looks good. That's oldie England, isn't it? Anyway, this preamble sets the scene for a rather horrific story because recently, in fact only the last few days, on the 28th of September 2023, during the Storm Agnes, which was rampaging across Northern Ireland, the Isle of Man, and the northwest, and across the northern regions of England, and certainly was wreaking havoc across Northumberland on that night. Somehow or other, on that night, somebody with a chainsaw got up there and felled that tree. A 118 foot tall tree with a diameter, a circumference of diameter's across, isn't it? I think it's about 5 foot diameter. I don't know what the circumference is, but did that in the dead of night during a raging storm. So the next morning it was found, and what it had done, it had fallen northwards, and it had actually gone over and was resting slightly on Hadrian's wall. Hadrian's wall, folks, runs for 73 miles from the west coast to the east coast of England, and was once a border. It is not the border between England and Scotland anymore. It hasn't been for many, many centuries, but people still think it is. The border's much further north than that, but the actual border. That wall is not very high anymore. There's some bits where it's higher than other bits. It originally had a width of 10 feet, whittled down to 8 feet. It's now not even that, and it was meant to be like 12 feet high. Well, there's nowhere it's 12 feet high anymore. It's 2 or 3 feet high at best anywhere. And no, a little bit higher some other places. And it's been felled, it's lying on the northern side and in a right mess. And it's slightly on Hadrian's wall. Shock and outrage and horror, not just from all the people that live around there in Northumberland, the visitor centre, all the businesses there who have that tree as their icon, their symbol, their badge. And it draws tourists in. Thousands, every week are going in there because they're looking at that tree. And then they're going to go to the, what's it called? The Twice Brewed Inn, just down the road, which from the windows there, you can see, well, you could see the tree. And you've got campsites and all sorts of other places, the big visitor centre, the little towns, all thrive on the fact that that tree has stood there. For 300 years it's stood there. You've got many other sort of symbols of the north of England, most notably the Angel of the North, which is a great big huge stainless steel angel, which when it first got erected, can't remember when, I didn't like it. I thought, what an abomination that is. It looks horrific. I've kind of grown to like it, so, it's okay. But if you took that down, that can be rebuilt because it's man-made. You take down a tree, leaving its stump, the tree can grow back again. Possibly, not always, but tree surgeons have looked at this and that tree has a possibility of growing back. But it'll take, get on this, 150 to 200 years for it to go anywhere near to what it once was in its glory. 150 to 200 years. Well, I'll be around for that, but most of you guys won't be, I'm sorry to say. Cheers, you all. This is an act of incredible evil, cruelty and vandalism on a hugely global scale because it's such an icon. It's a World Heritage Site. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, in the immediate aftermath of this, because the huge outpouring of grief and sorrow, people have been literally going to visit the site, which they've loved for many years. Maybe they got married there, they proposed there, they've loved it, they've photographed it. It's a photographer's dream, that place. Come on to that in a minute. But they've all been there in droves. The police had to cordon the area off and all that, do their investigations, which we're coming on to. And but people's outpouring of emotion was genuinely affecting. It means a lot to many people, and not just the people who live in Northumberland. It's people all around the world. There was interviews with people from all over Europe who, when they heard about it, had to come over, and they're sobbing. That's what you've done. That's what you've done. Now, a guy from Newcastle went up, I think the next day, and planted a sycamore tree. Just a bit further down, a sycamore tree, probably about, 6 feet tall, something like that. Planted it. Sadly, the Forest Commission have said, well, we've got to take it down. We've got to remove that. They haven't as yet. They probably, as I'm doing this video, it's probably being uprooted now. But this is bureaucracy and red tape again. Because it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, you can't plant anything there. Oh, the irony. So that's got to go. Now, as I say, this tree could grow back, but it's going to take a hell of a long time. Do you uproot the whole thing and relocate another tree? Well, it has been done, but that's tricky. You remove a tree from its actual home, its habitat, and transport it. It may never take to the new land, the new soil, and you may kill it off in the process. So that's not really going to happen either. So people have been saying, well, what can we do? We've got to do something. We've got to either commemorate this tree by using the wood from the felled tree to make benches or a statue. Maybe make a statue like the same as it and carved out of the original tree. I can understand that and preserve it that way. I can understand that. But they were saying, let's just make it like the Angel of the North, a great big stainless steel version of it. No, it wouldn't be the same. And in fact, no matter what you do, it will not be the same. It's gone. It has been taken away. It is a photographer's dream, or certainly was. Sitting in that, the hills come down, these two dislodged breasts, of the landscape. You see any picture of it, they're two great big swelling mounds, and they sweep down very steeply, and right in the centre, at the bottom of that, call it a mini valley, was the Sycamore Gap tree. It's a photographer's dream. It's so iconic. From miles away, it looks amazing. From close up, it just fills your imagination. They filmed it with the Aurora Borealis behind it, with snow coming down, with all sorts happening around it, in this bright sunlight, in like autumn, hazy shade of winter, and this big starscape behind it. From both sides, it looks incredible. But from the Northumberland side, looking north, that's the best view I've had of it. I've been there with my family when I was a lot younger, and I've been there with Mrs. Kilt-Man, although not recently, not in the last few years in fact, but it's a wonderful place. I've walked and run alongside Hadrian's Wall a couple of times, never the full length, never did that. We never did get the impetus to do it for charity either. We were going to do that, a few of us, but it never happened. And I've camped alongside Hadrian's Wall as well. Spectacularly eerie, I've got to say. I've camped all over the British Isles and all over Europe, and even in America as well. But my God, the wind makes some strange noises there. Now I'm not saying ghost. I'm not saying that at all. But the noises it makes as it howls around. You've got open wilderness there, and then you've got copses of trees all around, and little valleys and stuff, and it whistles in the strangest of ways, and it does sound like female voices. So the whole thing has a very spiritual sort of connection that people have. God, every TV show now, every guru, every well-being sort of mental health is huge. Of course, everyone is saying go back to nature, go out just a walk in the woods, and you connect with the trees, with the land, with the air. Don't have music playing in your ears. Don't have anyone with you. Just be alone with your own thoughts and go and hug a tree, whatever you want to do. But going back to nature is enormously therapeutic. And to have an icon like this, which people were drawn to, almost like it became a symbol. And it was positive. It was a positive symbol. People were drawn to it, and they got warmth, comfort, solace from it. They go back time and time again. As I say, the local businesses, they thrived on it. What are they going to do now? They've all been interviewed. The local distillery and the brewery have said, well, it's the image, it's the symbol that we have for all of our products. All the restaurants, it's on their plates, on all the imagery on the walls, the stained glass windows. It's the tree is the thing. No, it's not there. So have we got to change all our business marketing now? And these people are in tears. Not just because it means for the business, but it means for the area itself. They've been disemboweled. The actual community has been felled like the tree. So, who did this? Who did this indeed? Well, in the day after, they arrested a 16-year-old boy. 16-year-old boy. They know the tree was cut down with a chainsaw. There is a white chalk line beneath, just below where the stump ends. So that was the cutting margin. A 16-year-old boy on a stormy night in pitch black with a chainsaw. I used chainsaws back when I was 16, when I was doing YTS landscape gardening. I've told this story before. I had to climb 80-foot trees in a ramshackle rope and tackle job which my boss Ted Noonan had erected. And when he sat at the bottom of each tree, and there was about 16 trees. This is in Frodsham, but overlooks the plains of Cheshire. And it's on a cliff as well, a cliff edge. And they're very rich. And this garden, about 16, these huge trees, pine, conifer types. And I had to climb up these, oh my God, and lop off branches and thin it out at the top. On a ramshackle, it's like a medieval swing that I was on. And he was down there smoking about 10 bifters at once, just sitting there, hey, and pissed as a fart as usual, and just holding the rope, which was anchoring me. And I had a chainsaw. Now, back in those days, it was illegal for me to use a chainsaw. You had to be 18 to use a chainsaw. But Ted didn't care about things like that. And I did not like it. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love, the chainsaw in horror movies. I do. But I don't like it in real life. Just the sound of it. And I've used them since as well. And I've never liked it. Never enjoyed it at all. And these were small chainsaws. So cut through this particular tree, you'd need a big, proper chainsaw. Now, we've all seen Commando. Arnie at the start of Commando. Muscles are ripped. The vest is on and all that. And he's going back to his alpine lodge in the mountains of California. And he's got a tree trunk on one shoulder. And he's carrying his yellow chainsaw on the other hand. It's a small chainsaw. You need a bigger chainsaw than that to have gone through this tree. And to do it in the darkness. Okay? Well, you don't do it in darkness. You're going to have lights there, aren't you? You're going to have lights. No one saw these lights. No one. There's people that live within a mile and a half of that tree. The main road is less than a mile away from that tree. Anyone driving would have seen this. Even with the remnants of Storm Agnes. All the locals have said, we'd heard nothing and saw nothing because the wind was howling that night. Okay, I get that. But to go out in the middle of a storm, in the pitch black, with a chainsaw, and you're 16 years old, I'm not buying that for 1 second. In this country now, the laws are different. Anyone under 18 can operate a chainsaw, so long as they've been trained to do so, and that they're doing so under the age of 18 with an adult supervision. So, now, the deed was done illegally, so I'm sure they weren't adhering to the guidelines and the rules, but that doesn't matter. I don't think there's a 16-year-old who could do this. I genuinely don't. You need a much bigger chainsaw to have got for that tree. It's a very neat cut. It's a very neat cut. You've also got to know which way it's going to fall, because it can fall on you. So, and in the darkness, in the howling wind, really? So they arrested a 16-year-old unnamed boy, and then released him on police bail. They have since arrested an ex-lumberjack who is 69 years old. 69 years old. And they have named him. His name is Walter Renwick, an ex-lumberjack. So he's got all the gear. He's got previous for cutting down trees. He's a lumberjack. Has chainsaws. He's also got 2 leaky heart valves and is very unfit, as his daughter-in-law has stated. There's no way he could get up there. There's no way he could do this. And he has said quite categorically, I did not do this. I don't think he did it either. I don't think the 16-year-old lad did it. I don't think this guy did it. I don't know if these two are connected via, family, or whether he trained the young lad. I don't know. I don't know any connection between these two. But something here is not right, folks. I'm not buying this. To use a phrase from a guy that I watch quite a lot, but I hate the phrase and it annoys me every time he says it, but I'm afraid it's very appropriate now. That dog don't hunt. And I'm not shouting, oh, Kilt-Man, you and your conspiracies. I'm not. But I don't for 1 fucking second believe that a 16-year-old lad had anything to do with this on a stormy night. Or a 69-year-old man with leaky heart valves did this on a stormy night. Get real. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. And if they get arrested and they get formally charged and that's it, they are found guilty. I don't give a shit. I'm not buying it. You've got video footage of them doing it, then okay, yeah. What grievance have they got against that tree? I presume they're local. In fact, they are local. So why would they do it? In 300 years, no one's attempted to vandalise that tree. People who are against the monarchy in the last 300 years, people against governments and policies, and the northeast of England is poverty-stricken. And it gets overlooked by central government eternally. So if they've got an axe to grind, no pun intended, if they've got an axe to grind, they've got an axe to grind, but they're not going to take it out on the thing that brings people and business and commerce to their area. Why would they do that? This is deeper seated, folks, deeper seated. And I don't like it. We are seeing in society now, so many things are being abused and vandalized and graffitied for whatever, eco protests or whatever. It's just stop all that shit, all of that. And things get hijacked, and statues, rewriting history all the time now. Well, that tree never stood for anything, which was, it's a Roman tree. A TV presenter and journalist, I forgot her name now, who I saw on the program Loose Women, fucked up and said she was going along with the it's deplorable, it's abhorrent, it's an atrocity. Who could do such a thing? That tree has been there since the Roman Empire. No, it's for 300 years old. Roman Empire ended a fair bit before that, So, dickhead. But the outcry is immense, and we've had, sadly, there's other bad news as well. In the last week, a 16-year-old girl was stabbed to death on a bus going to school in Croydon, East London. We had a horrific school coach crash, literally about 7 or 8 miles away from where I'm sitting right now. And my wife, Mrs. Kilt-Man, was caught up in it as well, where the poor young driver of the coach, wasn't an older driver, suffered what we now think is a heart attack at the wheel, careered into another car, and the whole thing overturned. And 50 people were badly injured, school children, and he died, and sadly a 14-year-old girl died as well. And you've got, I think, a 15-year-old boy, he's got life-changing injuries, and it's just horrible. I search for the positive and the good news all the time. It's very hard to do so at the moment. Very hard indeed. And so you've got the backdrop of this. See, my wife was caught up in this. She was lucky to get around the whole thing and get away, because they closed both, it was on a motorway, they closed both carriageways for most of the day, in fact. And obviously, they had to. But the wife managed to get away with it and got back, and she informed me, and then I watched the news and saw the horror unfold. So you've had all of that. So there's bigger things than a tree being felled. There's people they're dying on the way to school. What the hell? There was a shooting, another mass shooting in Rotterdam, which happened, which hardly got any news airtime at all. Some maniac who had a lot of issues went into his university and shot 3 people, at least 3 people, the last I heard, had been killed. That was a few days ago as well. Around about this same sort of time as the tree being felled. But the news was dominated by the tree. So, no, it is important. It's massively important. I'm bothered by it. But I'm wondering, what lies behind this? Who? I've done a playlist of all arboreal set pieces and themes and music from movies with forest-bound sequences. And this is the Brothers Grimm, a track entitled "The Forest Comes to Life." As usual, it's brilliant. But I'm going to move on to Last of Mohicans. Now, I don't mean to make any light of this whatsoever. I'm absolutely outraged. I looked into what happens, what's the punishment for taking down a tree illegally. Now, a good few years ago, there was a cap on the fines. I think it was just £2,500 was the fine. Now it's unlimited. It's unlimited. Plus, you may, this is a World Heritage Site, you'll get a prison sentence as well. But I'm saying again, I got grave doubts that a 16-year-old lad did this. I mean, someone said, it might be for TikTok, a TikTok prank. Well, it hasn't been shown, has it? And what dickhead would do that? You're going to face You could never go back to that community. You would be torn to shreds. An old druidistic revenge. You'd be torn limb from limb and cursed for all eternity. You mess with a sacred tree like that. And the old boy, absolutely not. I don't believe he's fit enough to have committed it. And why would he do it? Oh, because he's a lumberjack. He hates trees. Lumberjacks love trees. They often cut down trees to save the forest. They cut down ill and infirm trees, diseased trees, trees which are at pose a danger. Okay, you've got lumberjacks in the likes of America, lumberjacks in likes of South America and Africa, who are cutting down trees and forests all the time to make money. That's a different thing. This guy wasn't doing that. This guy's obviously like a tree surgeon more than anything else. Lumberjack. Don't have many lumberjacks in this country, you know. Not under that terminology anyway. Also, what I think on cutting down trees, you do it for many different reasons. If you've got forest fires, raging wildfires, now of which, we're not here, endlessly raging forest fires, many of which we've found out have been caused deliberately, and several of them caused by eco-warriors themselves. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Why would an eco-warrior destroy a tree and set fire to a forest? And why? Why indeed? But that is true. But you cut down trees when there's a forest fire, because when the fire hits these trees, maybe you've got a ridge, right? We can stop the fire here. So you cut down these, because if you have towering, in American cases, the 180 foot tall trees, you know, that's a massive wall of fire. Cut the trees down and, the fire will stop at those trees. And then obviously you do your fire breaks, but you won't have this raging wall of fire, which the overbearing of the fire and the heat and stuff dripping down will destroy anyone who's combating it in the immediate, underneath the lee side of it. So there's reasons for cutting down trees. There was no reason for cutting down this tree, or was there? I don't know. Do you think, after I've just said, no one with a beef against the government or society or anything has ever affected that tree before, and then suddenly, it's a cost of living crisis, and we've got borders which are completely lax, and we've got illegal immigrants and asylum seekers swamping the nation. Yeah. Oh, so you're pissed off with that, or whatever else? Or did your GCSEs go badly wrong and you went and cut down an iconic tree? No. That is not, I'm not having it. I don't believe that for 1 nanosecond. Someone else is behind this. This is something else. I don't know what. But you think to yourself, did a 16-year-old lad do this? Did he bollocks? In the middle of a storm? In the dead of night? Get the fuck out of here. Did a 69-year-old man do it with leaky heart valves? No. Oh, it must be him. He's a lumberjack. He's got chainsaws. It's him. This is what happens in communities. Communities turn on their own people because they haven't got anything hard and fast. You pick on, you must know something because you are a lumberjack. You've got a chainsaw. It must be you. Where were you on the night of the blah, 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 blah? The 28th of September 2023, during Storm Agnes. With your leaky heart valves, what were you doing? You're almost 70 years old. Get the fuck out of here. And why would he have a grievance against the community and against the world to take down a tree like that? Folks, you've got to think behind the headlines. There's a lot more. I'm not the only one saying this, by the way. Of course I'm not. In fact, a lot of mainstream people have said this as well. And I was a bit surprised at that. Especially when they've come down on likes of GB News and certain journalists and presenters for, their rather loose lips and silly comments. Don't get me started on all of that, like. And of course, a certain sort of pop guru, Lothario, and Mr. Russell Brand. Funny how they named him before. There's been, allegations, but no charges. No charges, not even to this day. But they named him, and the media. I don't like the guy. don't get me wrong, I do not like the guy. But I think even if he's done all these things that they're accusing him of doing, then throw the book at him. Yeah, and I totally endorse that. But how can you name someone and put them through the mill without it being proved that they've done something wrong? You can't do it to anyone else. This 16-year-old lad didn't get fucking named. They have named the old guy though, which I've in view of what's happening with Russell Brand and all that, like, and the way that the law normally works, you don't normally name someone until they've actually been formally charged, arrested, and they really think you are the one. So in this case, they have named him. The 16-year-old, it's always like for legal reasons because they're underage. Bullshit. If you've committed a crime, you should be fucking named and pilloried once it's been proven, of course. Once it's been proven. Russell Brand, they've proven nothing. They probably will, but not my words. This won't go to court. I'll never go to court for Russell Brand. But it doesn't matter. He's been tried and executed by media already. They've done it. Pilloried completely. His name besmirched forevermore. And his YouTube stuff demonetized. And they try to take down any platform that has opposing views to the mainstream. So what is it? Rumble. I don't go on it. They want to take that down. No. And they want to take GB News down. And who is the biggest people crying out for that? Talk TV. Talk TV, who fall in the ratings compared to GB News. So they've got a vested interest in it. Oh, because that Lawrence Fox, is it? And Dan Wootton made a joke about that. Fucking this journalist, Ava Santini Evans, I think her name is. I've seen her on a lot of stuff, and she's the most bigoted, highly staunchly opinionated and volatile vixen you could ever imagine. And she seems to know nothing. Her arguments completely fall flat in the face of anyone she's talking to, and then she goes mad and hates men. Lawrence Fox was wrong in what he said, because that's not the platform to launch personal attacks, not on live TV. It was a bit dumb. But you could have argued the point that she made when she belittled men's mental health and the rate of men's suicide in the UK. And she belittled that. And she's belittled men many, many, many times. So he came out with a knee-jerk response. And that's it. He's cancelled. And so is Dan Wootton, and some other guy from GB News who said, well, I'm on their side. What age are we living in where you can't take the piss out of someone without getting completely, the whole world turns against you? Fuck off. So, folks, to get back to the case in point, the Sycamore Gap tree. That is a tragedy now. That is a national tragedy. It brought in revenue, it brought comfort and succour to people that loved it, cherished it, worshipped it. It was a tree, it's a living thing. The trees and the bees, folks, without them, we are no more. The trees and the bees. And some idiot, or someone acting under orders from some idiot, took that tree down for reasons we do not know and may never know. But I'm smelling massive rats here. Massive rats. 16-year-old lad released on bail. But you took him in for some reason, didn't you? Distraction, smokescreen, mirrors, I don't know. Maybe he did do it. Maybe he did. I fucking doubt it. I fucking doubt it. Him, a 16-year-old lad, and is he built like fucking 10 bodybuilders? And he marched up that hill, dragging his chainsaw. And with his laser beam eyes, he could see. He didn't even need the chainsaw. He had laser beam eyes. Zzz. He just cut through it. Timber! Fuck off. Just shove it. And a 69-year-old man. Get out. I'm not having it. How come we ended up on this again? England. Oh, England. England. Morgan Freeman. Oh no, I still like it though, I do. Alan Rickman as the sheriff. You, be in my room, 8 o'clock. You, 8:30. Or whatever it is. It's brilliant. But folks, despite the flippancy of this video, I am hugely annoyed, aggrieved and disheartened. Those two people in the community, everyone there knows who that 16-year-old lad is. If they genuinely think he did it, he's going to have the shit kicked out of him repeatedly, and he will. And if they genuinely believe he's done it, the old guy, despite being old, if they believe he's done it, he'll be cancelled out as well. So there's two people's lives that have been blighted by this already, and I don't believe, sitting here many hundreds of miles away, not that many hundreds, it's about, what is it, about 250 miles away from here, I think it is. It's all well and good for me to sit here and say all this, like, but I'm reacting to what I'm seeing and what the news is, the facts as they are being presented to us, and I don't buy it at all. I don't. To go up there during a storm at night and cut down a tree. The ground's not exactly even. You've got two fucking great big slopes there, but you can come up from the main road, you can come up, and it's reasonably okay. But you've got tussocks of grass. You ever walked on tussocks of grass with stones and rocks as well at night? You try it in daytime, not easy. Try it at night, very difficult, very difficult. And you're carrying some, high-powered machinery as well. Shut up. Just shut up. Did Special Forces on a Black Ops drop in and then drop back out again? I don't know. I got tasked with some strange things back in my day. Yeah, things that you wouldn't believe, and things that I had no idea why we were doing them. Questions were asked, no answers were given, and in fact you were also in trouble if you've asked those questions. Makes me think. That's why I think like this, because I know so many things go on behind the scenes which are presented in such a completely ridiculously news-based, clickbait fashion these days, but it's total misdirection from what really took place, and there are long-standing reasons why certain things happen. I'm talking around stuff here. Things happen, and you might find that other stuff is going to happen. Now, I hate to think, I don't even want to say this out loud, because I hate to think that other icons, other heritage symbols will be destroyed in likewise fashion. Why would that be? Why would that be? A nation that's on the brink, a government that's despised, complete bureaucratic ridiculousness gone rampant, NHS on its knees, no one getting paid anywhere near enough, absolute soul-dredged despair for many people. Can't pay the bills, can't put food on the table. It's a nightmare. And you've got knife crime is rife. The knife is rife. Folks, I'm not belittling that at all. Trust me. I genuinely despair of what's going on violence-wise. Just innocence being destroyed. There is absolutely categorically never a reason. Never a reason. No one can justify this at all. But taking down the tree, was it an act of just, hey, I don't even believe it could be a flippant bit of vandalism. Hey, after a few drinks, let's go cut down that fucking tree. It's really annoyed me. Why? Why would a tree annoy you enough to do that? It's a symbol. You've got, I've just thought of something else. You've got the whole north-south divide. Rishi Sunak and the southern shandy drinking bastards. Love you all. It isn't you guys. It's the attitude of prevailing governments down there and the whole economic infrastructure of the UK. the North always gets left behind. Always has been, always will be, always will be. Levelling up. Oh, bollocks. That's ever going to happen. The HS2, just shove it up. Shove all of the track that you supposedly laid down for the HS2. Shove it all up Sunak's arse. And all his fucking cabinet as well. Dear God. And all the business heads. Yeah, no. It's all based down south. All hate up north. And now an up north symbol of, spirit and heart and hope from up here has been destroyed. You can obviously apply you can take this down any road you want to do. I know that. But I'm coming up with different hypotheses and all that. But the thing is, I'm not buying what we're being told here. Oh, arrests have been made. Again, I'm going to say it again. A 16-year-old lad, no matter how fucking well built he is, he's had to be trained in use of a chainsaw, right? And that could happen. Of course it can. But at 16, where's he got the training from? You've got to be 16 to go on a YTS or whatever they call them these days to learn how to use it, unless it's a family business. In which case, look at his mum and dad and his family, his brothers, all this. But I'm not buying this. A 16-year-old lad did this. And I'm not buying that a 69-year-old man did it either. Did the two do it together? As I said before, I'm not aware of the connection between the two. Why would these two act together? Did he train him? He's a lumberjack. The old guy's a lumberjack. Did he train the lad? Maybe he did. If that turns out to be the case, but the guy's flat out denying it, we don't know what the kid said. He's nameless. He's anonymous. How many 16-year-old lads do you know carry a chainsaw? They carry fucking knives and zombie knives, don't they? Machetes. They don't carry chainsaws. Or is that the new development? Is that what's going to happen next? We're going to have kids marching the streets, gangs, the ninja North Face ninjas, that's the way. North Face ninjas carrying chainsaws. And they carry fucking submachine guns, because we've had that recently, only here. So, Kilt-Man and the state of the nation. I did see another female journalist who appears on Talk TV, and I think on GB News as well. And she'd been out the country. I forgot her name. And she's very articulate, and her opinions, I listen to them. I don't agree with some of them, but she formulates her arguments very well. And you listen, and she's the epitome of how to debate something, unlike the other woman that they all come down on, and they're all defending now. Oh, God. But anyway, she was at the country when all this happened, and she flew back into London and was heading straight towards, I think, the Talk TV studios for an interview. And the first thing she heard was about the stabbing in Croydon, and then she heard about the tree, and she just said, "Oh my God!" She sat there on light. She was like, "This is the state of the nation. I've been out the country and I've come back to a horrible stabbing and an icon being cut down." She goes, "This is symbolic of what's happening to this country. It's tearing itself apart." And I thought, oh, you're so right. You are right. It is. It's terrible. DEFRA are looking into this as well. DEFRA is the Department for, what is it now? Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. They're looking into this. You've got all the Tree Commission and National Heritage and, oh God, what's the other bloody company who own tons of land? National something or other. They're all looking into this. But something isn't right. Something isn't right. There's no way this is as simple as someone just go, you know what, I'm taking that tree down. Not on a night when there's a bloody big storm. Do you use the storm as a smokescreen? Well, yeah, there's a possibility. You know, no one can hear us. But you can't do it in the dark. And people are going to see the lights. It wasn't raining there at the time. It was windy, but it wasn't raining. So rain obscures much. So from that pub, the Twice Brewed Inn, they'd see lights up there and they'd be thinking, what the hell is that about? No. Folks, I know I've gone off on a few tangents here, but I'm like that, and these things mean a lot to me. I wouldn't say these things if they didn't mean something to me. And in an era now where saying things on any kind of platform can land you in a world of hurt, you know, you don't say things lightly. I'm staking my claim. I don't believe what I've been told about this. I don't believe these two were involved at all. I think it's very easy to pounce on someone who's got previous, you know, tree lopping and felling experience, and probably sits in the pub or has done in the past and bragged about the mighty trees he's brought down, you know. Of course he would. Fred Dibner took out bloody big factory chimneys and made TV documentaries out of doing it. You didn't blame him for 9/11, did you? No. He could have done it. That was his skill set. He could have done that. No. There's a lot to think about, folks. And where are we going to go with this now? I want us all to contemplate this now on the Tree of Woe. This is Conan the Barbarian. Then he gets crucified to a tree. Oh, I was going to say quite like that, except that for one thing, we'd have another big offshoot here, and he'd be crucified to it there. Cheers, folks. I've rambled on for far too long now, and I could go for a lot longer as well, but I won't. I hung fire on this because I knew things were going to develop, and literally 30 minutes before I started recording, the news came out that this 69-year-old fella had been arrested. Weirdly enough, they said only yesterday that a man in his 60s had been arrested, but I heard conflicting reports on this, that he'd been released on bail as well. But the news, as in just half an hour before I did this video, started recording, was that they named him and he was still arrested and helping the police with their inquiries. So, I don't know, folks, I don't know. What do you think should be done in place of the tree? That tree will grow back. I dread to think now that they'll dig up all the roots and just remove the whole thing, lock, stock and barrel, because they might address it as being, well, it's upsetting people to see the remains of it there. The remains of a tree which has still got the roots down is actually a positive sign. It grows again. Should grow again. Sometimes they don't. It depends. It can depend. But it should grow again. But no one's got the patience for that. So are they going to... I would say, this is my opinion, let it grow. Let it grow again at its own pace. Keep it preserved. Look after it. Let it grow. See what happens to it. If it gets diseased, which is prone, it could happen, then act upon it then. But do erect something in, I would say, the shape of the tree that was there before. I know it's not quite the same, but you want that iconic image again in that little cleft, that little sweep, the drop down. You want that tree in the middle. You want that shape, that silhouette to be there. And that can be done. And in the meantime, the original grows back, grows back, grows back. And it becomes a learning curve for other people, you know, to go and study how trees rejuvenate, which they do, you know, and it could actually become a bastion of hope and resilience. And when you find the real culprit, you crucify him to it, you know. Or you just chainsaw him up as well. It's a massive crime, this. It's not just like snapping branches off trees. I'm going to tell you something here, which I don't think I've ever said before. Oh, hang on. but I need something to show you first. Right. These I wear in my belts. I wear, down my sock, and when I'm out I'm on me. The Highland bling. My family hails from Fort William. Now, it's not called this anymore, but there was a place called Dungarron, and my family used to poach on the land, the Dungarrons. And as years went by and you couldn't poach anymore, a challenge was set down to get into the land of the Dungarron and climb up the biggest tree there and get a twig to prove that you've been there. Like, it's not called Dungarron anymore. I'm not saying when it's called. I don't want people to go up there and start wreaking havoc. I genuinely don't. But I've been there, and you've got to climb the tree. You won't hit any branches until you're about, 15, 16 foot up, and then you've got to shinny out on the branches and get out and snap a little twig off. That's all you're taking. You're not vandalising the tree. You're not leaving your name anywhere. But it's the tradition. Now they're old. They're very old, in fact. I haven't been to Scotland, God's country, since 2000. Oh God, 17. It was about 2 years before lockdown. Lockdown was when 2020. Yeah, it's 2017, maybe 2018 was the last time we were there. And I know that's a shocker, isn't it? Because we used to go up 2-3 times a year, and just haven't done it since. It would have been nice to, I say it now, to have coincided, like go up to Northumberland and go and visit the Sycamore Gap tree. And we've got sycamores here, by the way. Many of them in our grounds. We have too many. Sycamores by houses and walls aren't a good idea. They're not. Their roots really take root, and they disrupt foundations very badly. I've told this story before. When we first moved into this house, wasn't I about to leave about half an hour ago? When we first moved into this house, the Kilt mansion, my dad, big Kilt Papa, who, despite being a military historian, ex-home guard he was too young to join the army, so they put him with the old boys during the Second World War, and he fired rocket batteries on New Brighton beach. Well, the dip, not the beach, on the dips, what they call the dips, great big huge deep trenches where people have picnics and they camp out there now. But the rocket batteries were set up there for the Luftwaffe coming over to bomb the docks of Birkenhead in Liverpool, sweeping across the Mersey. My dad was firing rocket batteries, and we've got those little yellow square photos of him firing them. True story. And but he's done many things in his life. But the thing he loved, job-wise, most of all, was horticulture, and he became one of the leading people around Wallasey to look after parks and gardens, to take down trees. Oh my God, my dad's dead. You can't blame him for this. He did not do this. To take down trees, cut hedgerows, and just look after lawns and public areas. And he loved it. He thrived on it. But he took later life, he took degrees and learned horticulture and landscape gardening to a really high level. And when we moved into this house, we had several sycamore trees. We've got a split level garden. We've got the big patio, which I put down, the big patio, and then you step up and you've got like one garden, then you've got another garden behind, and we've got trees all around, and we've got like the shed and all that. And it's very spacious, but very unkempt. And we had a couple of benches put out there, and he went straight away. Because he called me Christopher. Thought is my name, but and he should know because he christened me it. But I'm Kilt-Man, or Chris, that's it. And he went, Christopher, that's a sycamore tree. And it was a great big, and we loved it as well. We'd only moved in a week before, and they come around. He went, that's a sycamore. And I went, yeah, great, isn't it? And he went, They're evil. You must take it down. I went, oh, what's wrong with it? They uproot everything. It'll destroy your house. It'll take over. And I was thinking like Doctor Who and all like bloody, horror movies where these things just expand and grow and possess everything. And I went, well, okay, I'll look at it. I'll take it down. No, do it now. Now. He said, do it now. So what do you want me to do? You have me. I did it. I cut down a tree. When I say a great big sycamore, it wasn't like the sycamore gap tree. It was fairly thin. So I got a saw out and I took this tree down into the garden. Well done. Right, now cut grooves in the stump. I'm going to cut grooves in the stump. They come round for dinner. I'm covered in fucking sawdust and crap and all sorts of spiders and stuff. I've just took down their home. They're all over me. And he's like, cut grooves in the stump. Now. Do it now. Now. Oh, God, Dad, but it is so immediate. It's stood there for a while. We only moved in a week ago. It hasn't done anything yet. So I had to saw grooves into the top of the stump. And he said, right, now, hammer into those grooves. So what with? Get some big nails and hammer them in. Make the holes. Right, I've done it. Now take the nails out. Oh, you told me to hammer them in. I'm like, oh, fucking that's to price these fucking nails out. He said, right, now put. So he's got these grooves cut in and holes right in it. He said, right, now pour paint inside those holes. I said, Dad, why didn't you ask me first if we had any paint? Luckily we did. Well, actually, it wasn't our paint, it was paint left over. So we had to open these tins of paint, and of course that horrible shelf of plastic, that film had set. I had to break through that, like breaking through the ice in Damien Omen 2. So I chop that poor guy out, and they don't get him. But and he gets whisked off to an icy death, because of Damien, that is. And I finally, got some paint, and he said, pour it in now. I'll pour it over you in a minute. So I poured it in, like he said, right, finally he went, like he was knackered. I don't know, just cut a tree down and fucking, oh God. And he went, right, it'll die now. It did die, actually. He was right, that's what you do. I mean, that's one tactic. If you've got sycamores, by your house, and of course sycamores, they pollinate and further their existence a lot. Those little sycamores come down all the time, the seeds, and they spring up straight away. But their roots, by the time you've seen anything come out of the ground, the roots are about 10 feet, maybe more. So it's already anchored like Great Cthulhu. It's there, set. So you can keep chopping the thing down, but you've got to get the roots, and paint will seep in and kill it off. It does. And then they will rot. But over dinner, he was saying, right, now, when you get a chance, dig around that and chop through all those. I was like, Dad, we've just moved into our new house. Let us not just enjoy the place for 5 minutes without destroying the entire landscape. We've got grounds for once. We've actually got grounds, Cheers, Big Kilt Papa. There is a huge gaping crater where that sycamore stood. I have filled that in with turf, with soil, and put top soil and then turf on top of it, and it's died every time. Oh, that'd be the paint, Kilt-Man. No, it ain't the paint. That's fucking cursed ground now, isn't it? So whatever you put in there, it just seeps away, gone, and you're left with this bowl of emptiness. It's still there. It's still there right now. So there you go. Here's Miller's Crossing. Of course, one of the best gangster films ever made. But Miller's Crossing is a place out in the woods where gangster executions take place. Carter Burwell's fabulously lyrical score here. Cheeky, charming Very Irish, but they are Irish gangsters, against the Italian mob. But it grows like trees do into this wonderful, wonderful theme. Which just has an edge of darkness to it as well, because the film Miller's Crossing is very, very, it's excruciatingly violent. But Albert Finney, Gabriel Byrne, John Turturro, John Polito, fabulous, fabulous film. Alongside the Long Good Friday, this is the best gangster movie. Those two. And Carlito's Way comes up as well. Not your Scarface, not your Godfathers. They're great, they are. But these are elevated by incredible dialogue, wit, extreme violence, and a real sense of character. And this film, hats. Listen to this. Folks, we've prattled on here, haven't we? And we covered a fair bit of stuff. Knifings, the state of the nation, lies and deceit, black ops, tree surgery, legit and clearly non-legit, false accusations, media scapegoats. You always get more than you bargain for with Kilt-Man. Always. Mrs. Kilt-Man will testify to that as well. And maybe if you would. No. Let it play out. So, comment below and let me know what should be done to try to commemorate and celebrate the life of that tree. That tree hasn't died. They've killed off one part of it. That tree can live again. They're talking about getting saplings and stuff from it. But again, what you're going to do, the exact location of that tree is the remains of the tree. So you're going to uproot that and then start again. It's a difficult one to work out what to do. And the Forestry Commission, the National Trust, that's who I couldn't think of before, the National Trust and UNESCO will all have to unite and see what the best policy is. And they should put it out to the people of Northumberland. It's them should have to say in what happens next. Let them come to a mutual agreed decision. And then National Trust, UNESCO, Woodland Commission, you all do what they want. It was their tree, it was their land, it was their prosperity, it was their legacy. You listen to them. You don't decide. Have a heart and listen to what they've said. You've got people from Newcastle coming in and planting their own sycamores there. They've done it out of heartbreak and just, I want to see something back there. And you guys are going to uproot that because you've got this bureaucratic bloody laws. You can't plant anything here. It's a World Heritage Site. We understand why you did it, but we can't do it. Do you know what? I've just thought, what if he faced charges for doing that? Because you can. You can face charges for that. That would come under defacing and vandalism. Oh, the irony. If that happened, oh my God. There would be one hell of a video about that. Hopefully, it won't come to that. It won't. They understand the people's outcries and grief. Oh, it's appropriate we end on this, in fact. This is James Horner and the New Wild. beautiful choral stuff, and the sound of nature, bubbling brooks, birds, and just a gentle musical landscape evoking the natural world. And the thing is, people would sit by that tree and enjoy the natural world, the history of the environment. Hadrian's Wall is there. So much has happened there. The Saxons came there, the Vikings were there. That tree came to symbolise not just an area, an enclave, a county, a country, and then a united country, he says. You know, Scotland and England, and even England is divided, north and south. I don't have any answers. I have a lot of questions. A lot of anger as well. I do. I try to hide it. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes less so. But the more you see the natural world being eroded and destroyed around you, and we all see it all the time. I did a video on the council-led company that were going to cut down trees in the cemetery and lied to me about, oh, we're just cutting down one tree because it's dangerous. There's a hole above a certain level, and there's branches that come down. That I understand, but why were you measuring up all the other trees as well? And there's many trees in that cemetery, at the back of ours as well. Why are you measuring up all those? You know, and with grins on their faces. And I was there with the dog, and I said, look, you know, if I find out that you're cutting down more trees than what you're telling me, you ain't gonna do it, because you'll find me and the dog here stopping you. And he just went, oh, no, don't, it's fine. I said, okay then, fine, yeah. And they got back into their van with a great big tree. They feed the tree trunks and the branches in it. It gets shredded up. A wood chopper, wood chipper, whatever you call it, on the back of this massive truck. And as he drove round the war monument, and we were sitting there, and I was eyeballing them, they just grinned at me, and I thought, you lying twats. You're lying. Now, they haven't been back. That was was it last year? It was a long time ago, and they haven't been back, and they haven't cut down that tree that they promised to do so. Did I put the frighteners on them? I hope so. Kilt-Man, ex-Royal Marine, published author, literary award winner, YouTuber, and now tree hugger. By the way, that tree, I was saying before about the circumference, I got that kind of wrong. Circumference is a lot more. The diameter, I'd say it's about 4.5 feet, maybe 5 feet. You can't put your arms around that tree, put it that way. You can't do an Arnie and carry it off like Commando. No, he couldn't do it. He couldn't even do Expendables 4. Then again, all the people who were in Expendables 4 couldn't do Expendables 4. Except for you, Jason Statham. Oi, Megalodon, nah! I love Statham, but Expendables 4 was crap. As I told you, I saw an advanced screening. Ooh, wasn't I lucky? No, not really. Here's the Tree of Death from Sleepy Hollow. Ah, folks, we've been here for hours. That tree will be about at least 6 or 7 feet taller now by the time this is finished. But I do mourn the loss of a national treasure, a local treasure, and an ecological and environmental treasure. For what? No one cut that down for an arbitrary, arboreal reason. No one did it. There's something behind the scenes here. Yeah, think what you like. I'm not buying this. I'm not buying what they've said. Police have arrested you, and then they've arrested you, and oh yeah. If he comes out, the 69-year-old guy comes out with like some kind of confession. Yes, it was me. I did it because of blah 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 blah. I ain't gonna believe that. He couldn't have done it. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. You think I'm full of shit? You wouldn't be alone. But but I'm not buying this. And I ain't stupid. And I've seen from the inside of a lot of stuff and how things work and how they knit together. I don't pretend to understand the machinations of what goes on politically from local and then central government. I don't understand these things. Alan Bleasdale did GBH way back in the early 90s, I think it was, and he nailed the collusion between local and central government and big business and money and political terrorism. He nailed it. I urge you to watch that show. It was incredible. It's powerful and it's of its era, but it's still happening now. And they don't just use, the Bobby on the beat and corrupt the police forces. They use the armed forces as well. They do. Oh, they do. So, anyway. Look after the trees, look after yourselves, look after your neighbours, look after everybody you hold dear. Try and make new friends. Keep happy. Keep positive. Keep watching Kilt-Man. I don't know, this video was meant to be like mourning the tree, but we've gone absolutely everywhere with this. And I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing. You're going to find on YouTube and a lot of social media, a lot of voices and a lot of people are going to disappear. They are. And they just won't be around. There'll be less and less of them, and then finally they'll fizzle out and it'll become more and more mundane. But I'm still here. Kilt-Man is still here. And he's still going to kick ass. Drink whiskey. Flaunt copyright by playing loads and loads of music. No, I don't flaunt it at all. I don't get paid. My thing is not monetized. Hey, there's the big stupidity on my behalf. I don't monetize this. What a knobhead. Probably won't be able to anyway. But there you go. So, I say what I like. And I like what I bloody well say. So, please stick with us. We've gone down some strange paths and avenues. And maybe the odd rabbit hole now and again. But back on track after this with more movies, reviews and reviews. And the very bloody thing, which I promised to review and show you a little while ago. Oh, that was horrible, wasn't it? You saw me up close and personal. Ugh. These. Can you read that? I'm going to show you these. These are absolutely fucking wonderful. That's one of the best buys I've had in a while. Well, apart from that, obviously. But they're great. And for about 2 weeks now, I've been threatening to show you those cards and talk you through it all. But they're great. They are really, really great. So, cheers you all. I'm going to finish this off now. Let's wallop this down. Whoa. That was a wallop, wasn't it? You know when you, with whiskey, and it's neat, don't forget. You go like, ugh. It's got to be done now. Got to be done. I will. I've still got to find a picture appropriate for the thumbnail for that tree, and there are so many. You couldn't take a bad picture of that. Well, the bad pictures are now of the tree lying on the other side of the Hadrian's wall. It's wrong. As I said, it wasn't alone. There was an entire copse, a cluster of sycamore trees were there, but they cut them down. This is a long time ago to leave one standing there. It's like an icon, a bastion, a beacon. I'm going to end. Possibly appropriate enough, but also annoyingly. I don't like it being called the Robin Hood tree. It was way before this. And Robin Hood was... This Robin Hood... I love Robin Hood movies and the whole legend of Robin Hood. And my favourite is The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, who's not exactly fucking English either. In fact, none of them are English in that. But it's still, it's all great stuff. It just seems a bit more overt when you hear like Kevin Costner and Mike McShane. And Morgan Freeman. Yeah, because Robin Hood brought back a Moorish warrior, you know. Nick Brimble is in that. The great Nick Brimble from Who Dares Wins, from Frankenstein Unbound, from many TV shows and many other movies. Nick Brimble is a guy that is criminally underused in movies. He plays Little John because he's a big guy, like. And I love him in this, but there's one of the ultimate cringe-worthy moments because he's henpecked by his wife. And of course they move into Sherwood and they build all the treetop houses and all that, like, and his wife, who's a bit of a cuckold, but cherubic, and you know, she's got them roly-poly arms and the rose apple fucking cheeks and all that, like, which I have as well, thinking about it. And she gets pregnant again, and he comes out on the rampart of his little treehouse and he goes, "Got a little babby! Got a little babby here!" And you're like, Nick, for fuck's sake, you're the big hard SAS man in Who Dares Wins. Got a little babby! Oh, God. How the mighty fall like the Sycamore Gap tree itself. The Sycamore Gap. For those of you who watch this and have got no idea what I've been talking about, just Google it. Sycamore Gap tree. It is world famous. Folks, I'm way out of here now. That's it. We're done. So please, in the meantime, and this ever love arborea in between time, please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all up a tree near you. Lighthouse! Save the trees and the bees.